Hi, everybody. It's Victor here again. And today we are going to be talking about a very important topic related to moving to Portugal. And that is the requirement for you to apply for the D7 visa. One of the requirements, actually. I'm here with Rita. Nice to
Mhm.
see you,
Hello.
Rita.
Hello. It's nice to be here. Just to also add to what you were saying, Victor, we're going to talk about the requirements specifically for the D7, but not only the major requirements, but we're going to focus on points that people usually misunderstand. So I think it's important. There's information out there, as you know, and it's really easy to get confused and overwhelmed. And honestly, not all information is trustworthy.
I agree, totally. So many things that you can find online, and nowadays even more. ChatGPT, Google. There's kind of
Yeah.
overwhelming. The goal here is just to try to guide you and provide you some trustworthy information.
Mhm.
And of course, the D7 is one of the most popular visas. So I guess is going to be useful for you. And one common misconception, Rita, is that the D7 visa is only for retired people. Do you agree with
Yes.
that statement?
No, no. And I find that a lot of people believe that, okay, this is the retirement visa, and they actually name it D7, the retirement visa. And so people get this idea, oh, I'm not retired. I'm not going to qualify for that. But actually, first, the official name is the D7 passive income visa. Okay. And as long as you're 18 plus and you have the correct profile, you fit the criteria they're asking for, then you can apply. It is common, Victor, that a lot of retired people apply for this visa just because they have, you know, the most common type of passive income, which are pension payments or social security payments, right? They're very solid passive income payments, but there are other possibilities that you can have for passive income. Do you want to name the other ones that are not
For sure,
pension
for
payments?
sure. Yeah, Rita, thank you. From my understanding, Rita, Portugal is very flexible in terms of what this country considers as passive income. The most popular type, I would say, besides the retirement and social security for retired people, can be the rents. So rents they receive from properties.
Mhm.
Also, if I remember well, royalties. So if they have any
Sure.
sort of royalties they receive from, just for example, if they sell books, they
Yes.
receive royalties,
Distributions. Mhm.
distribution exactly. So in terms of passive income, also we can say that financial investments, it's a very common way for people prove they receive that type of income on a passive way, and it's very important to highlight that it needs to be in a passive way. So
Yes. So anything that you do actively, if you any work, right? You're getting your pay slips, that's not going to count. If you have remote work, that's not going to count. So when we say investments, we mean like invested money that's generating interest. Or, I mean, I can see your point, Victor, once when you told me like maybe you own a business, but you don't actively participate. Okay, let's just be very clear. You
okay,
cannot be actively working. If
got
you're
it.
just getting distributions from this business that you own, okay. But this is a very important to know that you cannot be actively working to get this.
Got it. Makes total sense, Rita. Thank you.
Mm.
Uh, and as we are talking about passive income, Rita, I do have one question for you.
Sure.
I speak to people and they usually refer to savings as a way to apply for the D7 visa. Is it
Yes.
possible? What's your take on this?
No, it's not. It's not a good profile if you only have proof of funds or just savings. A lot of people come to us, right? We do this all the time, right? We do thousands and thousands of D7s, and many people come to us and they have a significant amount of savings. So people have like $1 million in different kinds of savings, and that's going to make you a really strong applicant because you can show that. But even if you only have that and you don't have the monthly passive income, that's a risk to apply. That's not what they're looking for. We've actually, Victor, had people denied who had a significant amount savings, but they didn't have the passive income, the monthly passive income, and their application got denied. So if you're one of these people who you really want to go for a decent, but you only have savings, you can talk to your financial advisor. There are many ways that you can try to set this up, or of course, all legally, right? You can, for example, invest some money and get interest out of that, but you really do need to have the monthly amount.
Got it. Yeah, I understand that. I guess Rita, sometimes they think that it is part of the process that they will have to transfer some money to Portugal. So
Yes,
they open a bank account here and we can help with that. And they transfer this money that's not related to the passive income. It
no,
is no, right? It's just to prove that they have financial stability here in Portugal.
yes,
But I guess that's, I mean,
that's,
I have this feeling that they understand that that's enough for the
yes.
D7, and that's not the case.
Yeah, and I can understand people getting confused. Again, too much information, not all good. But there are two important points, financial points that you need to pay attention. It's the monthly passive, and it's the savings that you have to put into a Portuguese bank. These are two required points. It's not either or, right? They're both required. And when we're talking about the amount, we can talk a little bit about that. As of 2026, the Portuguese minimum wage went up, and these amounts all have to do with the Portuguese minimum wage. So if you're one person coming, immigrating via a D7, the monthly amount you're going to need is one Portuguese minimum wage, the minimum, right? And that's as of 2026, that's 920 euros. And then to do the math for how much you need in the Portuguese bank account, you're going to multiply that minimum by 12. So 920 by 12, I believe that's 11,040. I'm trying to memorize these numbers since they changed, but that's what you do. Sorry if my math is wrong, but you just multiply 920. And those are the two minimum amounts, okay, for one. If you add a partner, okay, whether it's your wife, your husband, right, to your process, because you can apply as a family, you're going to need 50% more in the monthly. Okay, so 920 plus 50% more. Then again, you're going to multiply that total by 12 to put in the bank. And then if you include a child 18 and below 18, you're going to add 30% of the Portuguese minimum and multiply that by 12. That's kind of how it works.
Got it. Yeah, it's so the more family members that join the process, the higher is the amount of money you need to prove you
Mhm.
receive as passive income. That makes sense.
Yes. Yes. Um,
Yeah, and Rita, I mean, I guess at this stage, people they also think about. I mean, they rely on passive income, and they are gonna be moving to Portugal. Will they be able to work here or to have other source of income while living here in Portugal?
Very good question. Many people don't know the answer to that, or many people believe that, of course not, I'm not going to be able to work. It is a passive income dash retirement visa, so they're not going to allow me to work. But actually, um, you get your visa, right? You get your D7 visa. And the point of getting the visa is to get your temporary resident card, right? That's the end goal, right? So you get the visa in your home country, come to Portugal, go to that IMA meeting, and get your first temporary resident card valid for 2 years. Once you have that card in hand, you are allowed to work, whether inside Portugal or from another country, okay, like remote work from any other country, that is completely allowed. And I think that's so generous of Portugal to allow that, because not all countries allow that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Quite
Mhm.
generous, and probably one of the reasons why people tend to choose Portugal when in between countries.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I mean, I understand that most people who apply for the D7 are retired people. Not all of them, but a big chunk of those applications are for people that are retired, but they don't. I mean, I have this feeling that they just want the possibility to be
Yes.
able to work. They want to be active. You know, it's not
Yes.
that.
Of course. I mean, people, a lot of people, they're retired and now it's time to do something they always wanted to do. I want to sell jewelry. I want to whatever, right? Something that you couldn't do when you had that 9 to 5. And some people are not retired and they own a property and they get rent and they are still younger, and they still want to work. So it makes it possible, and it's very nice that it's very good that's possible.
Yeah, that's really good. So, Rita, there is also one quite common question that's related to the application itself.
Hmm.
So, there is a someone who will be apply for the visa, and let's say this person is coming with more family members.
Hmm.
Do all of those family members have to prove they have passive income, or just the one who is applying for the visa? How does it work?
Yes, this is also quite misunderstood. And actually, let's say you're applying as a couple. Okay, so husband and wife. Okay, one of you will be the main app. Okay, you're going to pick. Let's say the wife is the main app. Only she will have to show the required monthly amount in her name, and it has to be under her name. Okay, so you can't, for example, let's say that um, the wife doesn't have enough passive income, the minimum amount. Okay, and they ask. So a lot of people ask me, okay, can I just join passive incomes? I'm going to join myself and my husband's, and then we have the total. You can't do that, because what the Portuguese authorities are going to evaluate is the main applicant's passive income. I don't know if that was clear, okay, but only the main applicant's profile is going to be evaluated. So the total passive income needed is has to be under the main applicant's name. You can't join both passive.
Got it, got it. So not, of course, not the whole family needs to prove having passive income. When you're coming with children, that would be kind of
Yes,
complicated.
not even. Yeah, I won't even mention that. But yeah, yeah, only the main.
That's good to
Something.
know.
Yeah, something I remembered too when it comes to the types of passive income. Many people use rent. Okay, they own a second property and they use rent as their passive income. And I have a lot of people coming to me and they say, "Oh, I'm just going to rent my house here." That is really tricky to do, because for part of this process, you're going to need proof of address in your home country. Your proof of
Mhm.
address cannot be the house you're renting. So to be able to use rent as passive income, it needs to be either an extra property, okay, where you're getting rent from, but it's not the property you're living in, okay. Or
Okay.
you can choose to do something like sell the house you're living in, get a small apartment, and use that as proof of address. But do you understand what I mean? It
I
can't
understand.
be.
I understand.
Yeah. Hmm.
So they can't receive rents from related to the property that they mentioned they live in when applying for the visa.
Exactly. Exactly.
Got
Hmm.
it. Yeah, I mean, it's overall, Rita, I do think that the D7 visa is a very good type of visa, especially due to the flexibility that it gives the person when living here in Portugal. Okay. Thank you, Rita, for the good information. I do have a kind of a feeling that this visa, the D7, in terms of this financial part of the process, it is quite reasonable. It's not that it requires a lot financially if you compare to other countries.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons why it is so popular here in Portugal to apply for the D7.
Yes.
We did went over the financial part, but just be aware that there is more than just the
Yes.
financial. There's
Hmm.
there's a process, and I can tell you that one of the most how can I address this one, tricky, let's say
Yeah.
like this, part of the process is the need to rent or buy a property here in Portugal for the visa application. So this
Before you get your visa granted, just to really
before you
emphasize.
get your visa granted, exactly. So that can be a
Uh-huh.
bit tricky.
Yes, yes. There's no way out here. It's a mandatory requirement. Okay. So you really just need to face it. We, well, here at Viv Europe, we make it so the applicant does this at a very good timing so that they, quote, lose the least amount of rent. Okay. And so I'll say this too. So some people, and I completely understand, they come for a scouting trip to Portugal. They fall in love. They're like, this is it. I want to be here. They get their NIFs, which is like your identification number, and they start renting even before they start the D7, go back home and start. And people can do whatever they want. But personally, I don't think that's a good idea. Considering the process now, Victor, is taking an average of 7 months. Imagine they're going to be paying, if you start with the NIF and start with the rent, you're going to be paying rent for like 7, 8 months before you get your visa granted. So to me, that's a waste of money.
No, that makes
Um,
sense. That makes sense. I guess with also working with clients, they do get anxious about the whole process, and actually they get overwhelmed. And some of them, they just want to do whatever they can as soon as possible. Let's just do
yes,
that.
yes. Expedite this. I got this. I got this. That's great to be proactive, but in a process like this, there is a timing. There's a timing. And so you're going to end up doing things twice. You're going to end up spending more money. Um, it's good to understand that, there's an order of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really really important, Rita. I cannot thank you enough, Rita, for sharing your knowledge with us. I guess it was a nice talk. I mean, this passive income requirement. I mean, as you mentioned, Rita, there's so much to look over. If you go to the internet, there's so many contents about it, so you get
Yeah.
overwhelmed. Um,
Yeah. It's my pleasure, Victor. Thank you. I always like chatting with you. And
Likewise.
yes, I
Thank
hope
you.
that everyone enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thanks. Bye bye.